My name is Milyon Trulove. I'm the Vice President and Dean of Admission and Financial Aid.
Hey y'all, I'm Dr. K, and I'm the Vice President for Student Life here at the college.
We've got a lot of questions that we received early. I know we're going to receive some questions during the day. So we had a student who is thinking about Reed. This is a student that has spent a lot of time in the classroom being successful. They're confident with the academic program here, but they're like, how do Reed students have fun? What do they do in addition to like going to school?
I tell my faculty colleagues this all the time. I'm like, the reason why students really come to read is for all the fun stuff, and
Yeah.
and they obviously get a chuckle out of it, right? But ultimately, students do come for the academics, and they actually want a holistic experience as well. So for me, that's what my team does. My team is really thinking about all the things that are happening outside of the classroom, whether it's activities like the Gray Fund, which we put on, our Office for Student Engagement puts on programs on campus, off campus, related to all kinds of things. So I know we've done everything from going horseback riding to hosting what we call semester surprises on campus, where we have a little bit of everything happening on campus. We bring food trucks in. We have late night programming. We have our outdoor Great Fun. And so they're doing cool things like skydiving, for example. Student clubs and organizations are also another big part of the Reed community. And so students get connected to things that they're most passionate about or most excited about, or they want to learn something new for themselves. So they get connected with one of the 70, 80 plus clubs that we have. We also have AFOP, which is our athletic fitness and outdoor program. So we have a ski cabin that students utilize as well to go up skiing. So those skiers out there, we got a cabin right at the base of the mountain, and you can reserve
Right.
space to stay overnight at the cabin and go skiing on Mount Hood. So again, I mean, we have a little bit of everything for everybody.
Actually, I'm gonna skip to a different one because I think some of these are connected. Um, so one is about the political environment at Reed. One of them is about if Reed is more collaborative or competitive. Students here really want to help Reed become what it is. It's not just policies down telling me what to do, but it's actually creating, the community on this campus, the way in which that this community sees the world. And I think there's a version of this where folks don't realize exactly also how diverse our students are in terms of their perspectives and how much we try to build that in the admission process. Students of religious backgrounds, students of different perspectives of diversity, because we want the classroom to be a really inclusive place. But the one thing that every Reed student has in common is that they are thoughtful human beings that think about other people.
I would echo a lot of what you said. And I think the other piece of it too is that our students are really passionate too, passionate about lots of different topics, lots of different things. And they often want to teach their peers and share with their peers their perspectives and their thoughts, which is why I love that we do Paideia in January, where students actually get an opportunity to share their perspectives, their thoughts about a topic or about a class that they would want to teach. I would say the other piece of it too is that as I think about climate, and when I think about political views and things of that nature for our campus community, again, folks come from this place of wanting to share perspectives, to share their thoughts, and they are oftentimes different thoughts that folks have. So
Right.
they're not all the same.
Right.
So if you're expecting to come to a place where everyone thinks the same, I think you're going to find that that's not going to be Reed. I think folks have lots of different perspectives.
I tell people if you're someone who, you've found yourself, you've clutched onto an idea that you can't get rid of, so you start researching it or you ask a teacher about it and you investigate every time it comes up, you're looking more into it. If that sounds like you might be a really good fit for Reed. And I would say that's one thing that most of the students all have in common. I'm going to answer a few questions about financial aid, and then I'm going to dig deep into activities and hit some things on the academic program. With financial aid, we are need aware in terms of our admission processes, but we did really diminish the extent to which financial need plays a role into any admission decisions we make. We do renew your financial aid. So what you get your first year, unless your family has really changed circumstances, like I hope you hit the lottery and don't need financial aid anymore. But if you do, you will get the same package year in and year out. That's locked in. And if your need increases, we're going to help you out. Do we have athletic facilities? How can you start a club? Yeah, we've got sports facilities. We've got sports teams. We don't have NCAA Division III sports, but you've got club sports, intramurals. They play competitively. You can start a club if you want to. They're funded. Karnell, what else?
Again, easy, as you said, easy to make a club. We do a big club and orgs fair at the beginning of each semester, and all the clubs and orgs come together. It's in the fall, it's outdoors. In the spring, we have it indoors because you never know if it's going to be raining or not come spring. And then I think I saw also a question about just in general around like how we think about mental health and how we support students from a mental health standpoint.
Yeah.
And so our belief is that wellness is holistic. It's not just one thing. And for many folks, it could mean that they need counseling. It may mean that they need health services. It may mean that they may want to take yoga as part of developing a practice of well-being and care for themselves. Fortunately, we require PE classes. So our PE classes aren't all athletic based. They're all kinds of courses. So that's really important.
Karnell, can you talk a little bit about safety on campus? What do you do to help make students feel safe, to feel comfortable?
Yeah, so we take a multi-pronged approach to safety on campus. So we have a community safety department, which is staffed 24/7 here at the college. And so we have security folks. So they're not officers. We don't have a police department. We have security here on campus. So in addition to that, they're available, again, as I said, 24/7. In addition to them, we have actual live-on staff members, and those live-on staff members serve in an on-call rotation, again, also 24/7. So all year long, every day of the year, 365 days of the year, there's someone who's there to provide support to students, both in a security capacity, but also in a student support, student advocacy capacity as well. Campus feels safe. And I think at the heart of the message. I think campus feels safe.
Karnell, tell me what we do to help transition transfer students to campus.
At the beginning of every academic year, we do actually do an orientation, not just for our new students, we do one separate for our transfer students. And so our transfer students are able to be in community together collectively. We do transfer programming. We have faculty, we have staff members. We have a lot of different sessions. So at the beginning, it feels like overload of tons of support and tons of resources. And then throughout the year, we create the infrastructure that students and our transfer students get plugged into the community. So you are a community member. It's no longer it's not just you're a new student or a transfer student. You are a Reed community member. And so we don't put you on a separate list to do programs or events or things of that nature. We try to make sure that you're a part of the campus community and get invited to all the programming and all the events and activities. We also have a transfer mentoring program too. And so our transfer liaison that works in Office for Student Engagement provides support as well as a peer to help navigate campus for things that pop up for students.
Housing question, is it guaranteed for all 4 years?
For housing, we do guarantee housing for your first and second year. However, I always tell folks for your junior and senior year, there's still plenty of housing for our juniors and seniors to live on campus. So if you want to live on campus all 4 years, it is definitely possible to live on campus all 4 years.
What are the most popular majors at Reed? English, biology, psychology, political science, and economics are most often in the top 5. But here's the deal. There's always a subcontext when you talk about sort of size in majors. Size does not mean whether or not it's a good major. That's the thing I really want to emphasize. If you all take a look at your catalog, if you have it, or your viewbook rather, if you take a look to the page that shows sort of top PhD production, we've got 16 different areas. We've got humanities, social sciences, you've got the sciences. But then you have majors, even things like linguistics, which is one of the smallest majors on campus, is in the top 10 for PhD production per capita. And in terms of advising, you'll meet with your academic advisor right away as you're registering for classes. Some of your faculty members who aren't even your academic advisor, you'll get armchair advising from them also.
There lots of our what we call in student life, we have an academic life cluster, and that includes everything from our international student support services, academic supports, so that's tutoring, writing center, things of that nature, coaching, executive function coaching, and things of that nature. And they do a lot of one-on-one with students to provide them support as it relates to that.
How do people get roommate assignments? How do you
Oh
choose a
yeah,
roommate, or
yeah.
how do you get a roommate?
Yeah. So what'll happen is that when the housing application opens up for our students, our incoming students, you'll fill out a housing application. We'll ask lots of different questions so that we can get a sense of like who you will live with, what's your living styles and your approaches and all that good stuff. I would say we do a really good job of matching people up, by the way. When I say a really good job, we do a really good job of matching peers up. And if you want to live with a
Why do you
friend,
say that, Karnell? I think, yeah,
I think we're asking the right questions to get a better
right.
sense of what will work. And our team has been doing housing for a long time. So they are experts in this and they refine the system year after year on what they see. But so once you do that, the way our housing is set up is we have a neighborhood model for residence halls. So first year, we have a first year area, we have a second year area, we have upper division areas. And so for first year students, you will be living in a first year area. And that first year area is how we take a look at what kind of room you're looking for, what like roommates, things of that nature. And so we try to make sure that we match up folks appropriately based on what they're asking for and what their needs are. We also work very closely with our disability and accessibility office to make sure that students who need accessible spaces get accessible spaces. And so that's a part of the process as well.
So someone wants to know about Hume 110, which is it is the one shared course. Karnell, you know this, that every first year
Mhm.
student takes when they're here. It's been a shared experience of our students for a long time. And Reed has sort of this entryway, which is Humanities 110, where you learn about Western civilization through many of the great works. You're starting in the Mediterranean and you're moving all the way to Spanish Harlem. And you make a few stops around the world. And it is something that is uniquely Reed. And the capstone on that, you didn't ask about this, but the senior thesis, where every student produces a new area of knowledge or does a deep exploration into an idea. And it really sort of opens up and cements your experience. Hume 110, you'll have a lecture where everyone participates, but then you'll sit in conference with your faculty member and about 18 other students, and you'll do a deep dive into these texts. But I think oftentimes that's where you kind of learn how to do college. You learn what it means to, you're calling the faculty member by their first name. So what does it mean to have this sort of partner, in the process, not just someone who's just telling you what to do or what information you have. People who are giving you feedback on your papers, so you're thrilled to go back at it because you haven't had those kind of conversations about what you've written. And it really, I think, it helps people transition with that change of their relationship with learning, where you're not just chasing after the grade, but you're really seeking the knowledge. That happens in Hume 110. And the thesis, our students say this was basically my grad school program, where they're refining their knowledge and they're figuring out how to make an effective argument. What would you say sets Reed apart from other liberal arts colleges? One of the things that I think we talk a lot about, we're not involved in U.S. News and World Report. U.S. News and World Report has 8 things that they use to evaluate. And when every school is chasing after these 8 things, I don't believe that they can offer the kind of distinction that they want to that really speaks to their values. Because at the end of the day, the values are what makes the school. This is a place that I decided to go through because this idea of this authentic education where it doesn't forsake grades, but really focuses on what you'll learn while you're here is actually what it all comes down to.
I think the other piece of it is that our students, again, goes back to this place of wanting to make Reed a better place for future students too. And so it's not often the times where if, you go to a campus and folks are just in their own little circle doing their own little thing. But at Reed, that's not the way our students approach this experience.
Karnell, what is the transportation like?
Transportation is
Okay.
easy. I would say it's easy. Whether
Mhm.
you can, walking up to the grocery store if you want to go up to the grocery store up Woodstock, or if you want to get downtown, just get on the TriMet, or do you take the bus right down the streets to Trader Joe's if you want to go to, or you can actually walk to Trader Joe's as well from here. We have bus stops on either side of campus. We have folks bike. Portland is a biking city, y'all. So bring your bikes. We have bike cages and places where you can lock up your bikes and all that good stuff. We have a bike collective too, so they can help you with your bike if it breaks down or whatnot. And we also have in the evenings for folks who are off campus or getting off campus for a little bit. We have a small radius in which we have what we call the night van or night bus that allows for students to just hop on and go somewhere that's local in the neighborhood too. So
What is one of the ways that you, in particular, can help our students understand how people thrive?
I would say this, whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, and it may be a little bit more challenging for our introverts, but the initial question, I think you even pointed to this, Milyon, earlier, is like, you're the student who's like, hey, I see that student sitting by themselves. Can I sit at that table with you? Or
Hmm.
invite that person in. Like an introvert may say, "Oh, I wouldn't go do that." But if you're the extrovert, hey, you can sit here with me. I have an open seat. Um,
Hmm.
so that community piece is one part. Is that there, whether you're introvert or extrovert, you're always asking or inviting folks to be part of the community. I think the second piece of it is that you are taking advantage of every resource that the college has in terms of whether it's again the sports center, whether it's tutoring, whether it's the residential experience and programming, that you actually do go to those things, do programming, go, don't just sit in the library all the time. That doesn't help create the community that I think we talk about. And then I would say the last piece of this is that our students are thinking about their whole college experience holistically. It's not just a one way, one thing. It is truly holistic and being open to what the possibilities are. Because you never know. Something you may get an internship opportunity, and you're like, oh, I hadn't planned on doing that thing in DC, but you got funding, you got all these things. Why not do it?
To be fully immersed your first year is a great thing, right?
Mhm.
Because otherwise you kind of don't learn how to do a lot of things. And so I tell people, the first day where you're finding out what clubs and organizations, put your name on every list, right? And it's kind of like when you're really busy, you get things done, but when you got all the time in the world, you kind of wait to the last minute. I'm like, feel your life. And honestly, it is a great way to learn balance. And Karnell's team, they actually actively think about how students are doing. We put systems in place to make sure that if you aren't able to articulate it, somebody can articulate it for you. And if you're thriving, it's so good to see, and we want to
Yeah.
acknowledge that.